Hi, this is Ushio, and welcome back to Echo. We're doing Jenna's route, but we're kind of hanging out with a lot of these characters. So it's not just focused on Jenna right now. We're hanging out with TJ and Leo, and Leo, he's kind of not letting go of Chase and his past relationship. He kind of still wanted to get back to it. Chase told him to back up, and it's been pretty awkward ever since. So we're going to find out what happens. Now that we're going to try and do Cole's birthday. And he's not here. Leo stabs the doorbell again, frustration etched across his face. I shift the red velvet cake in my grasp, trying to hold both it and the Lucha figurine. I really wanted to do more shopping after the incident. Jenna, TJ and Leo had just bought Peyton fast food as gifts. Carl doesn't get out to Peyton much, so the three took it upon themselves to buy from 3 different locations. Leo got a couple large and juicy vegan burgers, TJ got those tofu tacos that are made from nacho cheese chips, and Jenna got him a bread bowl. I squint, trying to look through the frosted glass on the sides of the door. Maybe he's getting high. He should still be able to hear. I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to. TJ holds up his phone. He's not answering his phone either. Leo knocks on the door hard, his bicep bulging. I could be studying, Chase could be finishing his project, and you and Flynn could be at work right now. Instead, we're doing this. Flynn leans back against his truck a couple of yards away, briefly canting his head in Jenna's direction, as his name's mentioned. You know, I may be remiss to mention this, but you're all a 6 shades of extra bitchy today. Leo stands back, paws on his waist, as he takes a deep breath. His eyes have a sheened, bleary quality to them. Any time Jenna speaks, it seems like he's wrought to near-twitching levels of anger. All of Leo's plans to bring everyone together have had the opposite effect so far. Do they lock their windows? What? Leo growls. It's not like we're breaking in. TJ's ears pin back, frown on his face. The wolf puts his fist to his forehead, closing his eyes. I think he's just asleep, and it shouldn't be too hard to get in there and wake him up. I look over at the side of the house and see a window well. I point at it. What about that? Too small. I could probably fit. She hops off the front porch and crouches down next to the window, pushing at it. Wait, there's a security sticker here. Jenna hesitates, and then pushes the window again, but it doesn't budge. Locked. Try the one above it. It's too high. I think this is going a little too far. Yeah, Flynn is here, but we've yet to see him, so I guess it's a little bit icy between Flynn and the rest of the group at the minute. I'll boost you. You think you're strong enough for that? Well, you look like you've lost weight recently. Jenna turns, giving me a quizzical expression. Smooth. She does smile after a moment, looking more bemused than anything. I see her bushy tail flick some behind her. You know, some girls might take that as an insult. Are you one of said girls? No, I get the meaning of your words, and that's where it's flattering, regardless. Oh, well, good I guess. What the fuck is happening? I set the cake and figurine down on the gravel and move behind Jenna, cupping my paws together in front of me for her foot. Steadying herself with her paws against the wall of the house, Jenna steps into my paws. Slowly I push up, feeling my muscles strain beneath my fur. Fucking hell, this is so fucking stupid. There's a light click, and I see Jenna pushing open the top window with ease. Good. Now I'm going to try and boost you all the way up, alright? Your arm's doing okay? Yeah, peachy. Her tail flicks again, and I get a mouthful of fur. Ah, sorry. Like we're some kind of cheerleading duo, I shove Jenna as high as I can with both paws. She grabs the ledge, and I feel the weight burden lift as she tangles against the side of the house. Careful, don't fall. Her bush tail is the last thing we see until she pokes her head back through. Kitchen, fell in the sink. Okay, unlock the door now. She disappears again, and we make our way back to the front door. Leo, why didn't you help? You're the fucking muscle here. If you don't shut your fucking mouth, Flynn, I'll use my muscles to kick you right in your vag. Sound good? Jesus, calm ya. Leo turns on him, one foot in front of the other. Flynn shuts up. TJ, meanwhile, has his eyes upon the wall in front of him. Leo has to chill out. Usually he's all smiles when we're gathered like this, even through the swearing and crude stuff. Right now, though, his eyes just look sort of vacant, like earlier at the mall. Finally, we hear the door rattling and it opens. Called his name, but he didn't answer. Well, he's got to be here. It's not like he can go anywhere, or would want to. I pick up my stuff and head inside. Carl's house is as massive and immaculate as I remember it. It is a mansion after all. Well, maybe less immaculate than I remember. There are a few wrappers and pizza boxes on the marble counter. I assume that's because Cole's parents aren't here to tell him not to be a slob. Flynn immediately heads up the stairs. Yo, Cole! Jenna stands in the kitchen, her paws on her hips as she looks around. Strange being back, isn't it? Like in general, or She shrugs. Cole. I hear the others scampering around the house, Leo moving out to the backyard. TJ, meanwhile, checks the garage. She pulls out her cell phone, tapping at it a few times. It's very faint, but I can hear a distant vibrating sound somewhere in the house. Jenna turns and I follow, stepping past the spacious living room. I didn't know it was possible, but it looks like Cole's parents got an even bigger TV since I was last here. Cole's room looks pretty damn similar to how I remember it, though usually he makes at least a mild effort to pick up after himself when I'd be coming over. There's so much dirty laundry and trash scattered about, I can hardly see the carpet. God, it smells like Leo's gloves box in here. Wonder why? Jenna gives me a slight scrunched nose look, pauses, and nods acceptingly. She pulls out her phone, calling Cole's number again. This time, the vibration's much closer, a rattling sound audible as the device vibrates against the wooden surface. Still, sounds kinda muffled. Sounds like it's coming from one of his drawers. Ordinarily, I'd be vehemently against rifling through one's personal stuff, but this is a special circumstance. I'm not gonna stop you. Jenna starts putting open drawers in the dresser while I check out the desk. I feel guilty doing it, but there's sort of a thrill to be had in snooping about like this. I start stumbling upon old comics that I'd given Cole myself back when we were kids, the corners dog-eared to all hell. The next drawer looks to be chock full of portable gaming system stuff, including all of his cartridges just scattered about. I remember every day on the bus I'd sit next to Cole just to play, because his parents bought him all the expensive devices. I'd always guilt him by saying that he could play at home whenever he wanted, so he usually let me play the whole ride from Echo to Peyton. Find it yet? I blink and shake my head, checking the next drawer. No, but, well, it's a fleshlight, wow, and a butthole one too. What? I shut the drawer, try not to think too much about it. Nothing. Well, I found it. I spin around, moving to Jenna's side. It looks like she grabbed it from somewhere wedged between Cole's bed and window. Does it have a lock on it? No, it doesn't. Cole's parents have always been really good about respecting privacy, yeah? How fortunate for him. Jenna swipes through the messenger tab, though for some reason, now she keeps the screen out of sight from me. Her brow raises at something and pauses. What? What is it? She quickly shakes her head. Nothing relevant. She returns to tapping about again. I can hear the others still calling for Cole, so I guess they haven't found him yet. Again, she is wrought to pause. Are you going to tell me what's up this time? She stares. So, apparently Cole took a picture last night. There's a disconcerting look in her eyes, which tell me this is different than just another picture of Cole's arse. Okay. She holds up the phone for me to see. What is that? No, seriously, what is that? Okay. I stare at the sunlight reflected upon the ceiling above me. Its pale, golden hue has gradually shifted to a more amber tone as dusk nears. Aha, we showed up at about, what, 2-ish? Yeah, usually I'd be at work, but I took time off for Leo's party plan. The patter of Flynn's feet is audible behind me as he paces back and forth upon the tile floor. Glancing over the edge of the couch, his gaze is fixed upon the ground in front of him, the phone cupped against the side of his head. What? Yeah, he's in the kitchen now, using your coffee machine. All of the old gang's here. To repeat, the alarm wasn't armed. Cole usually doesn't set it. We got in through the top window above the kitchen sink. Flynn points toward the aforementioned window, despite currently explaining it on the phone. Leo stands motionless in front of the kitchen window, facing away from us. Well, Jenna did. Then unlock the front door for the rest of us. Wasn't my idea, again. Place kinda messy, but we didn't see any signs of anything broken into. Jewelry above the bedroom dresser. Give me a sec, I'll check. Speaking of, here she is. Flynn hands the phone off to Jenna before heading upstairs again. Cole, it still cannot be found. She uncrosses her legs and stands up slightly, pausing for a moment as she listens to Cole's father on the other end of the line. Yes, Mr. Hendricks, it has been a while since we've last spoken. 5 or 6 years, actually. I go by Jenna now, yes. Instead of pacing around like Flynn, she moves over toward me. She rests herself against the arm of the couch by my head. Her expression shifts some, but I can't see much due to the sun glare coming through the windows and the angle she is above me. My brother. Actually, yes. When I went through his phone, I showed that they'd texted earlier that day. Yeah, it does appear that Cole was buying weed from him. She's quiet now, listening. I can hear Cole's father on the other end now, meaning his voice is a bit raised. I turn on my side, propping my head up with an elbow on the armrest in an attempt to read her expression. Jenna doesn't appear fazed. She doesn't look at me either. Mr. Hendricks. The voice on the other end continues. The high-pitched rasp of Cole's father's voice is still audible a minute later. There are pauses in what he's saying, but Jenna doesn't interject. Finally, there's a pause of around 5 seconds before I can hear a quiet, "Are you still there?" coming through. Yes, Mr. Hendricks. At this time, I'm going to file a missing persons report with the county sheriff's office, citing the image I sent you from Cole's phone. Looking over, Cole's phone sits up upon the coffee table, the red-eyed image still displayed. Something about it seems so familiar, yet exactly why escapes me, like fleeting déjà vu. It makes me uneasy, even without the context of our current situation, which kinda makes it worse. It hasn't been the minimum 24 hours, but as you said, the fact that his phone, wallet, and all your other vehicles are accounted for is worrisome. She waits, listening. I'm going to tell the police that we were given the go-ahead to come and go from the building during the week. If you could confirm that when the sheriff's office calls you later, that'll make things easier on us while we keep up the search effort. Do you and Mrs. Hendricks have any recommendations on that front, regarding where he could have gone off to? She reaches over, and I feel her paw move beneath my tufted chin. Her fingers scritch along my jawline, and my eyes begin to lull. I don't know why, but I'm still so tired. I look up at her, though her gaze still doesn't meet mine. She continues to pet me, eventually reaching up to ruffle my headscarf. It rouses me from my lulled state, and I blink up at her. She covers the phone with her free paw, muttering to me, "Hey, wake up. Can you go see if TJ made any progress upstairs?" "Oh, yeah, sure thing." Hearing the telltale thuds of Flynn's heavy-footed gait upon the terracotta stairway, I glance up. He returns, shaking his head. "Shit's still there." Jenna nods, seeming to ignore the now strange look the Gila is giving us. I sit upright. I think Mr. Hendricks is giving us some advice of where to look. Jenna again nods in confirmation, though Flynn still peers at us with a furrowed brow. Were this any other time, I'd have some shit to say right now. He sighs, nostrils flaring. I lean forward, taking hold of Cole's phone and peering at the image, again up close. I'm going to check out some of his messages myself and see if I can find anything. That is a creepy picture, though. Okay, if this is some sort of prank, Cole, I swear to God. Leo, where are you? Jeremy, I have more at the end of April. Okay, Jeremy is Cole's dealer. There's Flynn, arsehole, they don't fucking understand what this means. Retro game shop. Okay. And there's Chase at the bottom. Did you change my name on your phone again? Okay, so who's pranking? Who is pranking Cole's mum? Oh, Flynn. The cell phone is plucked from my grasp, Flynn standing above me. Jenna, I already looked through that. Now you're just wasting time being a snoopy shit. Flynn's emerald gaze briefly flicks to Jenna, and then back down to me. Surprisingly, Jenna nods in agreement, and then motions to the stairs. We got this, Chase. Like I said, go see how TJ's progress is going. She looks to Flynn with a sort of stern, knowing expression before responding to something on the phone. Well, the convenience store is a few miles from here. Does he usually walk that far? My cheeks burn at the scolding, and I rise to a stand. Turning to leave, I can still see Leo standing unmoving in the kitchen. He's like a photograph, a still image silhouetted in contrast to the fading sun through the window. It's weird. Usually Leo is the one who sort of jumps into action with this sort of situation, or at least he did when we were kids. De facto group leader and whatnot. Now though, since we found out Cole was missing a couple of hours ago, he's been pretty resigned. Hell, Flynn and Jenna have been the ones coordinating everything so far. He glances over his shoulder, the first bit of movement I've seen him do in about 15 minutes. I can see his red eyes from here. He's staring right at me. I find myself walking over, despite myself, Flynn and Jenna busy talking with Mr. Hendricks over speakerphone now. I enter the kitchen and approach him. Hey. Yo. A silence lingers between us. So, Cole. Yeah. You know where he might be? Uh-huh, course. I'm just not telling anybody, because I like all this quality time that we're having, yeah? Leo, this is serious. Jenna's about to call the sheriff? Yeah, good. 2 birds with 1 stone. He holds up his phone, a notification on the screen I can't quite read. Got a call from Mariana back at my parents' house. The police were checking to see if I was there. What? My brow raises. I tried to study Leo's expression, but he's stony as hell right now, his jaw set in near constant grit. Familyplex got my plates from the security camera thing in the parking lot, I'm guessing. A sigh, rubbing my forehead. I'm about to open my mouth and say something, though I catch a sort of strange, empty look in Leo's eyes that brings me to pause. I decide against my scolding and instead move beside him, taking one of Cole's mugs and pouring myself a cup of coffee from the coffee maker. It's one of those fancy ones that has an espresso maker built in and a basket next to the machine with at least 30 different flavoured cups. The flavours are mostly dessert-based, with labels like salted caramel, frosted oatmeal cookie, cinnamon churro, and truffle sundae. They sound pretty damn delicious. As far as I know, Cole only drinks energy drinks, and usually obscene quantities of them. After taking a sip, the bitter scald hits my tongue, and I find myself reflexively reading before getting a chance to swallow. Despite having all these choices available, it looks like Leo went for straight black. Leo's gaze shifts back to me, and I see him perk a white brow. Damn fine cup of coffee, eh, Chula? I managed to swallow without sputtering too much, putting on a slight artsy flair to my tone. Black as a moonless eve at midnight, just how I like it. He smiles, though it's a visibly pained expression which he obscures behind his own cup as he drinks. I bet at university all you drink now are those rainbow frappuccinos I saw on the news. I remember when those came out. My dorm is by the library, and the coffee shop in there was selling them. The line was insane, and they sold out super quick. My friend Vincent, he's a barista there. He tells me it's just mango juice, sprinkles, whipped cream, frappe syrup, and food colouring. Oh, is that the same Vincent from all the photos you've been uploading recently, yeah? The other wolf guy? I can see where this is going from a mile away. I take another drink of my coffee, despite the bitterness. I mean, the pictures, they just pop up on my timeline, yeah? I keep seeing them pop up. Yeah, same guy. Ah, I hear ya. There's a pause, and I change the topic. Are you going to turn yourself into the sheriff? Not yet. He responds quickly. Gotta find Cole, and I think a wolf who's known the hornfucker his whole life can sniff him out better than some overpaid mall cop, yeah? Would it be more trouble for you if Sheriff Maluko, assuming that's who's still in charge, finds you first? Leo sighs with a frustrated gravelly rasp, his gaze flicking down to the kitchen floor. You sound like Jenna. It's probably because what I'm saying makes sense. The wolf looks up, his bug-eyed gaze focused upon me, as if he were searching for something. This damn get-together has gone more badly than I ever could have predicted, you know? I nod, not disagreeing with that sentiment in the slightest. First Flynn at the river, and then that shit at the Familyplex, and now Cole's nowhere to be found. This may be all the worst shit. But I wouldn't ever be able to forgive myself if I gave up the last chance I ever had to spend time with you guys again, you know? He sets his coffee down, his paws gripping the back of the countertop. Leo, come on, we'll see each other again. You don't know that. Jenna's moving all the way to the East Coast. TJ out of the country, probably. And you? After what happened at the Familyplex, you probably don't want to see me ever again either. There's a serious intensity in the cadence of his voice, as if something is practically choking him as he speaks those last few words. The air even feels weird. I think for a moment about what to say, still processing Leo's response. Looking around, I spot an old black beanie hanging up on the coat rack by the door, and I remember something. Cole once told me something back when I said you were becoming too cool for us in high school with the football and stuff. You know, back when you stopped riding the bus and just spent all your time after school to practice with the jock kids. He said that after all the bullshit that we've been through, none of the present petty drama stuff matters, yeah? I mean, sure I'm kinda skeeved, but it doesn't mean I hate you forever. Just hate me temporarily then. I sigh. You still haven't even said sorry or anything, man. Why would I say sorry when it's fucking Jenna who showed up and ruined everything? Are you serious? I told you to fuck off too. Why? Why? Jesus Christ, man. You were grinding on me 15 feet away from the fucking kiddie corner. You used to do that sort of horny stuff to me all the time. Now you're different. He gesticulates with a swirling motion toward me, using both of his paws. Well, guess I am. It's kinda sort of the point about why it's fucked up. Leo blinks, his shoulders raised higher. He begins to speak faster, and with more of his old accent seeping through. You didn't even tell me you was uncomfy or nothing. You just told me straight up to fuck off. It felt appropriate at the time, man. This is why I didn't want you to leave Echo, Otter. It isn't like things were great here between you and me before I left either. Because Jenna got to you. What are you talking about? We had it all planned out. A house, a car, a job waiting for you at my dad's shop. The life we talked about since we were little. Then Jenna started talking to you about Pueblo and how you should go. To hell with all this hick trash. We're better than them, yeah? Leo. And then she came up with that fucking prank. I see his fist shake and instantly know what he's talking about. You broke my phone. You broke my heart, Puchica. For fuck's sake, shut up. Flynn steps into the kitchen, and I realise I can still hear the faint sound of Jenna on the phone with Mr. Hendricks on the other room. While you two fuckers are having a domestic, Carl's getting renamed by the Mothman. Or whatever the fuck that red-eyed shit is on his phone. Leo steps forward, his jowls curling back into a snarl. Get out of here, Flynn. Surprisingly, Flynn holds his ground. The lizard squeezes his fist against his chest and stomach as Leo approaches, reflexively defending himself in case swung upon. We don't have time for this shit. Leo stares hard at him, his shoulders raised and his fur bristling. Flynn flinches some. It reminds me of how Leo acted toward him at the river. I'm starting to wonder if this is how Leo treats Flynn when we're not here. Leo, what the hell are you doing? Calm down, alright? I'm still fuming from what Leo said, but even I know this bickering is petty in contrast to the problem at hand. A solid 10 seconds of silence pass, neither of the two tall figures budging an inch. Finally, Leo steps forward, shoulder checking Flynn hard enough that he stumbles back against the wall. Gonna find Cole myself. Flynn sputters angrily, Leo muttering some string of swears as he heads toward the door. At least tell me where you're gonna look so we know where not to go. Leo pauses, his hand on the door handle. Danica Street to Elizabeth Road, south to north. Great, good luck. The door slams behind me, and the heavy stomps of his feet on gravel outside, and he's gone. I look down and realise that I'm shaking. Even if it had been years, an argument like that with someone who's basically defined my childhood and teenage years has a way of hurting deep. Stupid fucking prank. I try to refocus, making my way over toward the October Flynn and offering him my paw. You okay, man? He glares up at me for a second, and then takes my grasp and pulls himself up. The lizard weighs a ton, though, nearly putting me down with him. Just go help TJ already. Gonna check the basement again. He dusts off his front and begins fiddling with his shirt collar, walking off back toward the stairwell before I can respond. Through the window, I can see Leo outside. He's down the road a ways, past his van. He's talking to someone. I see the figure he's talking to point toward the house we're in, and Leo crosses his arms. It can't be the sheriff already, can it? Moving to the window, I get a closer look. I can see that the figure is a weasel. Duke. Jesus, haven't seen him in years. I used to see him around on his porch a lot back when I visited Leo's place near Daly. As far as I remember, he was the loner type, occasionally getting involved with civic stuff and the mayor. I have a vague memory of him being married to a younger lady when I was a kid, but I don't remember seeing her after first grade. His interactions with me were always pretty brief, not much to judge a personality by. Now, though, he's pointing at the house, speaking loudly, though I can't discern what he's saying. Leo just looks angrier, his tail stiff. Despite the range, I can practically feel the old fellow's gaze shifting, meeting mine through the window. His pointing hand shifts, now aimed directly at me. I reflexively blink, stepping back, and when my eyes refocus, there's a plume of dust in the air. Duke is on his back in the middle of the dirt road, and Leo is quickly marching back toward his van. The hell? Duke is already back up on his feet, sprinting now away from Cole's house. His mouth is still moving. He's saying something. Leo's van peels out of the driveway, gravel kicking up in its wake. Within a few seconds, he's out of sight as well. Jesus. I walk over to the door, locking it once again, just to be safe. Left alone, I head out of the kitchen. As I walk past the living room, I hear the low rasp of Flynn's voice, his tone serious. And then the fucker shoved me. You said he was putting this shit at them all too. I'll talk to Chase if you want more details. To think he just had to pick this day of all days to fucking snap. Flynn rubs the tip of his snout, his slitted eyes narrowed until they spot me, then he just looks back to Jenna. Let's call Morco now. Right. Flynn begins to dial for the sheriff. Jenna looks toward the door and then to me. We'll talk later, Chase, okay? If you want, of course. I pause, having been about to head upstairs. Oh, yeah, sure thing. She smiles at me despite everything. Cole, where are you? Oh, hey. TJ rises up from Cole's computer chair, clearly forcing a smile as he sees me. He's clutching his cell phone to his chest. TJ? Yeah. Are you okay? No. TJ sinks back down into the chair. Perking a brow, I move to one of Carl's console gaming chairs over toward the computer area. TJ slides his cell phone back into his pocket. I'm worried about Carl. We all are. We're calling the police and hopefully they can help us, yeah? Oh no, it's just the image on his phone, you know? The picture that Carl took? Yeah, it's, spooky. Spooky doesn't even begin to describe my initial thoughts regarding it, but this is TJ I'm speaking to, so gentle words and all. Yeah. One of his canines sinks into his lower lip, the link's chewing on it nervously. Maybe it's a screenshot of something he had on his monitor. We could check his history and recent documents to make sure. Have you already checked all that? His face flashes with a guilty expression. No, there's a password required to log in. Oh yeah, the new version of these operating systems make you log in with your email account. It's kinda dumb. I pause, thinking for a moment, and then scoot a little closer to the keyboard. May I? TJ blinks, takes him a second to understand. Oh yeah, sure. He rolls to the side and I pull the keyboard closer to me. Clicking the mouse brings up the generic login window. The username Blaze Ice is visible. When we were younger, Carl and I used to play a lot of free-to-play MMO type games. I convinced him to give me his password once, saying that I'd grind XP for him while he was on vacation with his parents. In reality, arsehole me sent his rare party hat item to my character. I tried to tell him that the game devs deleted the item from the game, but I don't think he believed me. God, what a shitty 10-year-old I was. Oh, hey, that worked. Yep, kinda surprised that he's still using the same old password, but kinda not at the same time. Carl isn't one much for change, right? Anyway, what should we look through first? TJ scoots closer, his chin practically on my shoulder. I have to shift my head some so that his whiskers don't brush my cheeks. His messenger, I guess? Okay, was that good, dragon? Click here for your fantasy. Interesting. Oh, I don't recognise most of these names. I see you and me on here. Most of these others outside our group are his online friends. It's good to know that he's still being social and meeting people after we left. Well, besides the names of people in our group, these look to be all online people. I played Vox Desperas multiplayer with Cole and that Lucha Leche guy before. He lives on the other side of the planet, practically. I wonder if he still talks to Heather. I hope not. There's a brief silence. Flynn messaged him earlier though. I see a 1 next to his name. But I don't think he wants us reading that. He didn't want anyone going through Cole's phone after he and Jenna were looking at it. I think Flynn might have been venting to Cole about what happened at the river, pretty hard-like. TJ's face briefly scrunches, as if flinching in response to that information. I move to click on Flynn's name. TJ stops me. No. Blinking, I look over toward a wide-eyed TJ, who seems to be now recoiling from his own abrupt interruption. What? Oh, sorry. I just think we shouldn't pry into that, if he didn't want us to see it. To be honest, Flynn being so cagey about his contact with Cole just makes me more curious. However, if what little stuff Flynn said to TJ to his face was enough to leave him shaken and distraught, I can't imagine what seeing the stuff he didn't say would do. Alright. I scoot back a little to the side, letting TJ take the mouse. He still looks pretty guilty for snapping at me. Let's check the browser history. Okay. TJ moves the cursor down to the star-like symbol on the taskbar. Okay, what you been looking at? Wow, let's not read some of those things. Okay. Weed, hauntings, porn, video games, movie reviews, job search stuff, and let's plays. I guess pretty par for the course with regards to Cole. Nothing too unusual, but... TJ moves the cursor to the Futa Factory link. I gently yet assertively place my paw on TJ's own and move the cursor elsewhere. It's a store for special clothes. Isn't that called a futon? No. Look, the browsing history stops right before midnight, and the picture on Cole's phone was taken at around that time, right? Yeah. That's really weird. It is, actually. Let's keep looking. Try our recent files. TJ nods, closing the browser and hesitating for a moment before clicking on the most recent file, titled Cole Document. Okay. What we got? It's a resume. Looks like it. Oh, I remember the Easy Mart. I'm still a little upset that it's shut down. I mean, it's no surprise why, TJ. Yeah, it was just nice to have local food back when we were kids. The convenience store just isn't the same. The dietary tourists available to people here are now really limited, unless they drive all the way to Peyton. A food desert, I think it's called. Plus, it was nice to see Cole there working. He seemed to enjoy the place. It's because he got to slack off the whole time, and there were barely any customers. But I get what you're saying. His anxiety about being around people wasn't nearly as bad back then. TJ nods, smiling sadly. I bet Jenna could help him. You know, she's not actually trained to be a psychologist, right? Her studies are more neural medtechy. Oh, I know. She's a really good listener, though. I nod. It's her big ears. Chase. I snicker, TJ shaking his head and closing the resume. He moves to open the next document on the list. Listed F space. It's a JPEG. I got a bad feeling. What? What is this? Ah, that's my old profile picture I drew for computer class back in 4th grade. Wow, really? It does look kind of familiar. Yeah, I used it back when we all made social media accounts. My mum made me delete mine when I got home. That was probably for the best. There was a lot of drama around how that site made you pick your top 8 friends, and you ranked them like that. A lot more feelings were hurt and such. Sounds awful, and I think I remember some of it. Sydney didn't ever add me. TJ's gaze shifts for a moment. I'm wondering why he has this saved, and why he was looking at it yesterday. Maybe spending time together again made him sentimental. I still watch some of the funny movies we made with your camera back then. Your voice used to crack so much. I feel the sting of embarrassment rise from my neck to my cheeks. Oh man, I've got to delete those. No, don't. They're really good. As silly as they are, you were really good at making them. I grunt, waving dismissively. Just open the next file, TJ. I really liked the one where you used that editing software to make a twin of yourself. I think the plot was one of the twins was a detective and the other was a criminal, both trying to solve their father's murder. And they had superpowers. I was more ambitious than I probably should have been with that project. TJ, just click the next one. Oh, alright, sorry. TJ clicks the next file labelled 0922-2008. Okay. Oh, that's from the trip that we took at the reservation. Back in like freshman year at high school, jeez. Look at you two, you were so little. Carl was just about getting his beard. I think we were both just getting used to high school at the time, and that was taken during Thanksgiving. It's surprising to see Cole smiling in a photo. It's surprising to see something of Cole other than his butt in a photo. I wish he wouldn't send me those. There's only one item left on the list of files that were last opened yesterday, and it's titled To Cole. It's a PNG. Wait a second, that sounds familiar. TJ looks at me curiously and clicks it. Oh wow, I emailed this to Cole months ago. Photos like this make me wish I went with you guys to Pueblo. Yeah, I wish you went there too, TJ. I was actually trying to convince Cole to come back and try again with a different major. His parents really wanted him to stay away from art degrees, which is what he really wants to do. TJ looks like he's about to respond, but his left ear perks. His attention shifts to the doorway. I hear the sound of thuds against carpet out in the hall, and I half expect to see Cole round the corner and ask what the hell we're doing. Instead, Jenna steps in, her turquoise eyes already trained on the computer monitor. She moves closer, leaning over me and squinting at the screen. I remember that. First year at Pueblo. Your parents had just dropped you off. I was wondering what the heck you had on your chin at the time. Oh yeah, you hadn't seen me with facial scruff yet. I never took you for the soul patch kind of guy, honestly. It's a goatee. It's kind of small for one, don't you think? I frown, reactively reaching up and touching the scruff at the end of my chin. It was kind of weird, but now I'm used to seeing it. I frown deeper. TJ blinks, giving me an apologetic look. I try to refocus the conversation. Cole's missing. He is. Why are you looking at old pictures? These were the files that he was looking at yesterday. And we checked his browser history. His online activity stopped just before midnight, and it didn't ever resume. Anything unusual there? I think he was looking to buy a futa? Jenna stands there, staring at TJ with a deadpan expression. After about 5 seconds, she looks at me expectantly. He means a futon. But you said... No, nothing out of the ordinary. Okay, well, I'll be sure to let the sheriff know when she gets here. Flynn steps in the room beside Jenna. Usually the Gila has a bit of a case of the resting bitch face, but right now he just looks downright sour. Alright, let's figure out who's gonna look where. Wolfboy has made the decision to go check the roads Elizabeth through Danica. Chase, you got Margaret Lane through Tetanus Alley, Jasmine Street. I'm giving you more since you've got a car. I'll take Gretchen Way through the beginning part of Route 65 in my truck. TJ, you like hiking? We need you to check around the hills and old nature trails around here, all the way down to the lake. TJ stiffens, and the feeling in the room seems to cool drastically. Only if you're comfortable doing it, okay? We just want to be thorough. I'm fine, I'll be fine. I just want Cole to be okay. Jenna nods, offering TJ a reassuring smile. Just text me while you're out. I'll most likely be free, since I'll just be keeping watch here at the house. TG smiles back sheepishly. Okay. Before you all scat off in your respective places, I found some weird shit in the basement. Flynn holds up his fingers, there being some white, chalky substance upon them. At the entrance to the crawl space, there was a bunch of hoof prints, dents in the wall, and plaster everywhere. Like Cole was headbutting the damn thing. There's nothing I can see in there, though. My theory is that Jeremy gave him some bad weed, laced with some shit, and now Cole's on a real bad trip. Which is why I need you to talk to Jeremy when you get to Jasmine Chase. He looks sidelong toward Jenna. Jasmine Street, I mean. I feel a chill crawl up my spine. Jeremy, and especially his friends, made my life hell during most of my childhood, especially after the lake incident. All of them were native inhabitants of Jasmine Street. If it wasn't for Leo stepping in, things would have been even worse. You can text me too, Chase. She seems to have read the look on my face. I swallow and try and look casual. Okay. Finn rolls his eyes so hard I can't see his pupils for a moment. Pausing, I remember something. I saw Leo get into an argument with Duke outside the house earlier. Duke kept pointing at it and was saying something to him. Whatever Duke said, it was enough for Leo to push him to the ground and drive off. Knowing Leo's minimum threshold for violent turns, probably hello. Flynn seems to soften a bit at that comment, looking sidelong to hide his smirk before returning to his more hardened expression. But in seriousness, that is concerning. I'll also relay this information to Sheriff Morco when she gets here. I'll text Leo and try to figure out what he wanted. Good plan. Flynn immediately heads out without another word. TJ hesitates a little, fidgeting with something on the computer, but gets up and leaves as well. I'm about to follow suit, but Jenna stops me, her paw on my shoulder. Hey, if Jeremy asks about me, you don't need to lie and say I'm not here or anything, okay? Oh, yeah, I understand. She lowers her paw, recrossing her arms over her chest. We'll talk later, yeah? I feel like I'm lingering to the point of awkwardness now. Good luck. You too. With the clearing of my throat, I shuffle my way out. Okay, we gotta go and find Cole, and we're gonna do this in the next episode. This is Usho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.